All right, let's just jump right in. For what feels like forever, Max Verstappen has been the guy in Formula One, right? The unstoppable force, the four-time world champ, the person everyone else was just trying to keep up with. But now, in 2025, something's different. Something is definitely up with him and Red Bull. So let's get into it and figure out what's really happening.
And it really all boils down to this one quote. I mean, just listen to this. After a really rough Hungarian Grand Prix, someone asked him if he thought Red Bull could even win another race this year. His answer? No, not the way things are going right now. Wow. I mean, talk about brutally honest. That one little sentence, it just sent shockwaves through the paddock. It tells you absolutely everything about where that team's head is at right now.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What on earth happened to the most dominant driver and team combo we've seen in ages? How did they suddenly just lose their magic? It's a pretty complicated story, a lot of moving parts here, so let's start digging into the evidence. Okay, first things first. Let's just lay out the facts on the table and see just how different the 2025 season has been for Max Verstappen. And yeah, the numbers here, they really don't lie. Look at the standings as of early May. You'd expect to see Verstappen at the top, right? Nope, it's the two McLarens, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, leading the way. Max is sitting back in third, a position he is completely, and I mean completely, unfamiliar with after all those years of dominating from the very first race.
And this is the reason he's stuck in third. Just look at this recent run of results. 10th in Spain, a DNF, did not finish, in Austria, and then 9th in Hungary. And get this, at the Hungaroring, he was almost a full lap behind the winner. For a driver of his skill, for a four-time world champ, these aren't just bad results. They are honestly shocking.
So, the crucial question is, why? Why is all this happening? To really get to the bottom of it, we've got to look at three key pieces of the puzzle: the car, the team, and the data. This side-by-side comparison, it pretty much exposes some major problems with that Red Bull RB21. First off, it's just eating its tires. It's losing grip way earlier than the McLaren. The race pace, it's all over the place, totally inconsistent. But maybe the worst part, the wind tunnel data isn't matching what's happening on the track. That's a huge problem. It means the car just isn't doing what their computers and simulations say it should be doing.
But you know, the problems go way beyond just the car itself. The team has been hit by a massive brain drain. I mean, losing the legendary car designer Adrian Newey, that was a seismic shock. But then, on top of that, they lost their sporting director, Jonathan Wheatley. That has left this giant hole, not just in the design office, but in the super slick, flawless trackside operations that were, the secret sauce to Red Bull's success. Of course, you can't tell this story without talking about the other side of the coin. This isn't just about Red Bull falling back, it's also about the absolutely incredible rise of their biggest rival, McLaren. They've basically become the new team to beat. And you don't even have to take my word for it. Just listen to the champion himself. Max is out here openly pointing out McLaren's biggest strength. He talks about their incredible performance in the medium-speed corners, how the car can just turn in so sharply without the back end stepping out. For a driver to praise a rival's car like that, with that much detail, that's a massive red flag. He's not just impressed, he's concerned. And what Max is saying, it's not just a feeling. The data backs it up completely. When you look at the GPS analysis, it's crystal clear. In those medium-speed corners, the ones that make or break a lap on so many F1 tracks, the McLaren is just in a different universe this year. This is literally where the races are being won and lost right now. And hey, if you still had any doubts, here's McLaren's own boss, Andrea Stella, basically confirming the whole thing. He says that, based on their own numbers, Max's analysis is completely correct. You know it's a real issue when your biggest rival and their team principal are both agreeing with you. But here's the thing. This story isn't just a simple Red Bull versus McLaren fight. The entire Formula One grid, the whole landscape, is going through a massive period of change right now. I mean, this whole period has just been wild, with major shakeups. You've got Red Bull bringing in Liam Lawson as Max's new teammate. You've got Lewis Hamilton's bombshell move over to Ferrari. And, as we've talked about, Red Bull losing its design genius, Adrian Newey. It feels like someone just threw all the chess pieces up in the air. And adding to that chaos is this wave of fresh talent. We've got a whole new class of rookies hitting the grid. Guys like Isak Hajar, Jack Doohan, the super-hyped Kimi Antonelli at Mercedes, and Gabriel Bortoledo.
They're all shaking things up, bringing in this new energy and a ton of unpredictability.
Oh, and we can't forget about the money, because even with all these on-track struggles, Max Verstappen is still the highest-paid driver in the entire sport. We're talking a base salary of $55 million. You know, that kind of paycheck brings an insane amount of pressure to perform, which just makes this current slump look even more dramatic.
And all of this is playing out against the backdrop of brand new regulations for 2025. The cars are heavier, the driver's minimum weight is up, they've gotten rid of the extra point for fastest lap, and, maybe most importantly, there are much, much stricter tests on flexi wings, an area where Red Bull has historically been masters. These rule changes were designed to shake up the order, and it looks like they're doing exactly that.
So, with all that context, let's bring it all back to the man right in the middle of this storm. How is Max Verstappen, the person, actually handling this brand new era of adversity?
Well, in his own words, you can just hear the raw frustration. After one really bad weekend, he just came out and said it's very complicated to explain why, because right now, nothing is working. That is not the confident, almost unbeatable champion we're all used to hearing.
And then there's this. This is a really fascinating little story. While he's struggling in the Red Bull, Max gets spotted testing a Ferrari GT3 car at the legendary Nürburgring. And get this, he was using a fake name, Franz Harmon. Of course, his one-of-a-kind helmet design gave him away instantly. To me, that's a huge sign that he's looking for fun, for new challenges, somewhere outside of that intense F1 pressure cooker.
And that track test wasn't just a random thing. He's actively trying to get a license to race in the 24 hours of Nürburgring. He's talked openly about wanting to race at Le Mans. He owns his own professional sim racing team, Team Redline, and he's juggling these massive global ambassador deals. It's pretty clear his focus is getting a lot broader than just Formula One these days.
Which brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? Is this just a temporary bump in the road for a champion who's finally being tested after years of it being, well, kind of easy? Is this a period of struggle that's actually going to make him an even tougher competitor? Or are we watching the official end of one of Formula One's greatest dynasties? I guess the rest of the 2025 season is going to give us the answer.